Okay. Let me turn off that echo. Hang on one second. There we go. Good afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. 2K compliant on YouTube. So I'm going live today because in the last couple weeks, and I got another computer going here. Hang on one second. Good afternoon. It's a Sunday afternoon. Well, the stream's working. That's good. On YouTube. Let's just close that. All right. Okay. So it looks like everything's working. So the last couple weeks, I have had the opportunity to gather some vintage tech of all kinds. So let me go to the capture here, and I'll show you the Facebook Marketplace post that I came across. And let's see. Yeah, we'll just do this. And I think you can still hear me. Yep. So I found this post, and I think the original one, let's see. I think they've kept them all up here. I caught this listing probably a couple weeks in. It had been open to the public for 2-3 weeks or so. And from what I've heard, because I've spent the last 2 weeks there, I've made 4 trips over 2 weekends, 2 or 3 weekends. And from what I was told by some other regulars there and the owners, that this building was a old it was a radio shop. I believe it was called Federal Electronics. It's about 45 minutes north of here, Lockport, New York. And from these pictures, you can see there are shelves and shelves of items. And if you notice right here, this was kind of what drew my interest, was this little black and white CCTV. It looked to me like a Sanyo or a RCA. And I thought, wow, that would be really cool to go with an Apple II, one of my Apple II computers. So I contacted the seller and got the address, and they basically were open every weekend. And I made the trip the next Saturday. I had a Saturday morning open, and I was quite impressed with what was there. But from what I was told, it had already been picked over for a few weekends, and you could barely move through this place. And as you can see from these pictures, there's a lot of places you can move around. They cleared this out, but apparently the aisles were even blocked with items. So let's see. I made that first trip, and of course that little monitor I showed you on the shelf was gone. Turned out there was a fella there who said, that he thought he had grabbed it. And I said, oh, darn, that's too bad. But I managed to, on that first trip, find some really, really cool items. A lot of computer stuff that was left, which was surprising from what I've heard of the items that had left there before I got there. So let's go back to the opening screen here, and you'll see the slide that comes up. All right, this is the first haul. I don't know how to stop the slideshow, but that's my first haul from the first weekend. This would have been the second haul, and I'm going to start just bringing items in and putting them on the bench and going through stuff. That might have been the third haul. That's a really neat item I'll show you. and I'll talk about what that is. There's an oscilloscope. I have not tried that, but it was sitting there, and there was a guy who loaded an entire U-Haul truck up with all the rest of the test equipment, and I grabbed that before he could, just because. I managed to grab quite a few CRTs. There's a couple, but this is this you can see here. There are two 1702 Commodore color monitors, a Vicon VM613, which is basically a model 1702, but it's more of a professional video monitor. And then these two you just saw there, that's a JVC video monitor, real nice one. The one before that's a pair of Panasonics and a rack mount. I've since cleaned this up. All the monitors work, which is great. But let me just read off. I've got a list here of all the monitors that I did pick up. So that little black and white monitor, I did end up getting my hands on. I befriended a couple guys there, and one of the fellas said, yeah, I think I grabbed that monitor that you were looking for. And he was nice enough actually to bring it back this past weekend. And he gave it to me. He said he grabbed it just because it looked cool, but he doesn't have a use for it. So great bunch of guys hanging out there every weekend. So he brought that back. That's an RCA TC1910A, 1910A. It's a CCTV monitor for closed circuit video monitoring for like a security system, but it takes composite input, and it just looks, it's going to look cool sitting on top of an Apple II. And that right there is a Comrex CR5400 in amber. I think that's my only amber display I have so far. It's a tiny little monitor. I want to say that might be a 9-inch. And then the white monitors sitting next to those Commodores in that stack. There's an AMDEC Color 1, an AMDEC Color 1 Plus, and a copy of those AMDECs is by Hitachi, a CM1481H. Those are all color monitors. Those go real well with 8-bit computers, Atari system. Well, not really Atari systems, unless you have the composite video mod, because they are only basically composite video input. That JVC video monitor, which is really nice. I had looked at that for a couple of weeks, and I hemmed and hawed over it, and I ended up grabbing it on trip number 3, I think. And the price was right. These guys, you walk in and they're, it's basically make a pile, make an offer, and very reasonable. This is 3,000 square feet of space that was just packed to the gills with radio equipment, test equipment, audio equipment, pro audio, hi-fi. What computers were left, which I grabbed. I don't think there's very many items that are computer related. I did manage to grab some cool PCs out of there, a couple of old ones. But that JVC is a model number TM-R14U. It has two, it's professional BNC inputs, there's two composite inputs, and then also a third input, which is RGB, which is really nice. And then that pair of monitors in a rack mount are two Panasonic WV5370As, composite video monitors. I believe those are color. I haven't run any video into these. I just tested them to turn the brightness up, make sure the tube was still firing. The flybacks are still functioning, which, like I said, I think all but one monitor in that building was working, and I left the non-working one there. It was another AMDEC Color 1, and as you can see, I don't need. I don't need them, but who knows? If I go back and it's still there, they probably will just give it to me because they don't want to be charged, or they don't want to have to be responsible for recycling CRT tubes. So, and the last, that one right there is a Panasonic TR 120 MDPA. It has a composite input. I think that's from 1982 or 1984. That actually had a asset tag on it for, I believe, one of the local community colleges here had an ECC North sticker on it. So this previous owner, who, if I didn't mention it, so the story goes, this radio shop, I think probably 5 years or so ago, the owner of the shop couldn't pay the rent or was back on taxes, or something happened where it essentially got abandoned. The owner of the building probably needed to pay the taxes on it and sold it to the fella who put up the marketplace listing, the new owner. And the previous owner, in closing, said, everything in that building is yours. Do with it what you want. So naturally, the only thing they could really do, because they want to use the building for something, they basically advertise the sale. And lots of stuff went out of here so far. But yeah, as you can see, let's go back to the capture. So as you can see in this picture here, this is the I can't see my arrow. There you go. This is the workbench area. So this is an early picture. There's this Commodore 1702. I grabbed that the first week that I was there. Back here is another CRT. It's a Dell 17-inch VGA monitor. That I do have. That's out in the other room. It works. Has a beautiful picture. From what I've heard, these Dells are Sony Trinitrons, or Sonys, from what I've heard. So yeah, so I have that. I've been looking for a CRT, a VGA monitor, an actual glass tube monitor for my retro computers. Because for some of the older stuff, the mid-90s stuff, when I play with that stuff, it's just not the same on an LCD. That's not period correct. So I grabbed that. That's in the other room, and it's in great condition. What else? Let's see what else is on this bench that I happened to grab. I think there were a couple of monitors under the desk that I ended up grabbing on this last trip. I almost didn't want to, but they got to know them real well, and they were super friendly, and said, "No, just get it out of here. Take it, throw it in your truck." Great deals. I got some great deals on stuff. And I think they trusted that I'm not some eBay seller that's just going to turn around and make a huge profit on this stuff. Most of this stuff I picked up for myself. There's a couple items that I did grab for some friends. I've got some video equipment that I'll show here shortly. But this was the back room that I went through this past weekend. And in all these shelves, there's just tons of parts, ICs, diodes, voltage regulators, lots of great stuff. Let's go to the bench here, and let's see. Let's just start putting some stuff up here. I have a lot to go through, so sit back if anyone is tuned in. I usually don't get any viewers at the time I live stream, which is best. So, but I'm just gonna start going through some of the drawers here. Let's go through the ICs. There's a ton, and so I've got a ton of these kind of things. They're brand new empty sockets that I can you know, desolder old ROMs or whatever off of motherboards, and then you put a socket on, so you can take a chip out and put it back in. You don't have to solder and unsolder chips if you're replacing chips or testing chips. So some of those, how many that is, if that's a 28 or whatever it is. But I got some of these, and it's nice because a lot of these are all the machine pin. They're not the, you know, I got some cheap ones here. I probably won't use these. These are pretty flimsy, and if you can see here, yeah, they're pretty bent up. Nothing's really broken off or anything. I mean, in a pinch that'll work, but the machine pins are definitely better. So moving on to, you know, I grabbed drawers and drawers of stuff. These, I believe, are these are all the same. They're wow. These are Motorola. I'm not exactly sure. They might be, I think they're serial controllers, but these are all new old stock in the package. You know, I might come across a use for these, or you know, if somebody's looking for something specific, you know, I've got these. You know, I'd be happy to sell them a couple bucks a piece, plus whatever the postage or whatever is. You know, tons of them. So let's see. So it's got some cool stuff here. Like I said, you know, I just did a preliminary search on what a lot of this stuff is. Serial controllers, there's some microprocessors, I/O controllers, there's RCA, Intersil, AMD, Intel, lots of different things here. These are, I forget what this is. This is another kind of package. Again, a lot of stuff's just like serial controllers, I/O controllers. And then we have EEPROMs, a whole drawer fully. This is a heavy drawer. It's all ceramic, and obviously these have been erased, I'm sure. The tape's been taken off of them, so I need to get a EEPROM programmer at some point, and I don't know, do something with these. So there's, I don't know, probably at least 50 in here. A couple of large ones, and then the rest of these are all the same size. There's some different numbers on these. I think some of these, I know they're 8K capacity, 8-bit or whatever. So I'm not familiar with ROM programming, but it's the thing to do nowadays. ROM programmers are cheap. And so here we get into, these are microprocessors. All of these here. Let's just pull out. So this is one set of drawers, and this is what actually drew me to grab the boxes that these came, because all of these were not organized like this. They were thrown into boxes and bins, and I went through over a course of a few evenings and separated into piles and put together, you know, organized these, so at least I kind of have an idea what I have. This is all Motorola stuff, and I think that some of these things actually, like this is a 68,000 CPU, I think. It's a TS 68,000, was that CP IO? I mean, it could be I think Motorola made, you know, the first Macintosh computers used 68,000 processors. These are probably more of just a controller chip, but they're Motorola, so I stuck all the Motorola stuff in here. But then there's a bunch of gold stuff here. let's see. And I'm going to put my glasses on because I cannot read some of these numbers. So, but oh, wait a minute, how'd this slip in here? This is an Intel. I think I put this drawer together because it's a lot of gold stuff. But that's a C82586 microcontroller of some kind. But under here, these Motorola's, there are a bunch of, and as you can see, some of them, they were, like I said, thrown into a box. And I'm on camera here. You can see these pins are pretty bent up. This'll fix up fine. I'll be able to carefully bend these back. But we have in these piles, here's a 68030. I think that's a 33 megahertz, but it's an 030 Motorola processor. The Macintosh SE30 used these, several others. I also have a bunch of these. These are the 20s, 68020. I think it's 16 megahertz, but I had 2 piles of those. This is Symbolics LIA 0908. Not sure exactly what that does. And what's this? This is another 20. I think these smaller guys are 10s. No. I have some, I believe this is a math coprocessor. It's a 68882 33 revision B. And I'm pretty certain those were the coprocessor. If I have that correct. If anyone watches this and I'm not correct, just throw it in the comments. And some random chips here. And then some 68010 RC10. Just more Motorola processors. And, lots of gold here. So, and they make that wonderful clinkety sound, which is pretty cool. Love that ceramic sound. So, but that's the Motorola pile with a few Intels in there. But I wanted to keep these gold packages together here. So in here, these are probably, I think these are like a serial I/O controller. B84 or B8548. 8524, 8516, 8608, 8604, 8616s, an SB 8325, a couple of those. So moving on to here, I have AMD, I think those are AMD, then there's Intel. There's 8088s in here and 8086s. Siemens 8088s, 8048s. So these are, what are these? They're 8-bit. I think these are 4.77 megahertz, and I think the 8048s are. I think they're a little bit slower. That I can't remember exactly. I looked it up, but my memory kind of stinks. So. But this is a Texas Instruments. This one's really cool. There's just one of these in all the piles. This is a TMS 9900 NL. And from what I looked up, this is the first single chip 16-bit processor. These were used in the TI-99, TI-99A personal computers. 1970 something. I should have a sheet with stuff on here, but I'm sure somebody will correct me or put it in the comments. I think it was that 76? I think that computer came out, but there's a processor there. And this drawer is full of Z80s. Zilog, Z80s, and then some Mostek. And so there's Z80. There's one Z8530 APS. I'm not sure, that might just be some sort of some sort of like serial controller or something like that. SCC 8640. But the rest of these are basically Z80 processors of one version or another. Z80A, there's like 2 piles of those in the Siemens brand. The rest are Zylogs. Z8400A, no, Z80A CPU. There's just a lot of miscellaneous numbers on these. So, and then there's this one little guy here. I'm not sure. It's actually marked a Z80A-CTC-D. So I threw it in here. It's about 2/3 the size. So I'm wondering, is it actually a Z80 and they just made it smaller? But it's in here because it's got a similar number. So, but those are the microprocessors and some serial controllers and whatnot. So moving on, let me get these in here so I don't spill them. Let's grab, staying with the chips, I'm gonna go grab from the other room. I've got trays and boxes, so just bear with me 1 second. I got stuff spread out. So I organized more stuff into bins, basically like sizes, same number of pins, but I think this bin here is logic, and possibly RAM, the smaller RAM in the older computers, all small chips like that. ROM, serial controllers, possibly logic chips. It's more logic, but this stuff was all new. I assume these are new, packaged like in the foam. Some of the foam had just come apart and actually corroded some of the chips. I did throw out some of the chips that were badly corroded, but this foam is still in decent shape. I'm looking at ordering some fresh foam to put a lot of these away. But there's, I'll show you in a second, I have the metal drawers full of paper sleeves like this with all brand new, new old stock ICs of all kinds. And then this one I've got, I assume these are probably their clock crystals or their radio crystals. A lot of big ones in here. Ceramic disc capacitors, transistors. There were tons of radio amplifiers, big monsters, probably 60, 75, 80 pounds. I don't need that stuff, and I don't need to break my back bringing it home. So, well, let me get some more bins. And I think we'll wrap it up here on the chips and move on to some more fun stuff. So, but like I said, I just grabbed these drawers. Everything in here is organized. I have part numbers on here, 74 182N. I think these would be logic chips. I've got some 74LS stuff. There's a whole bunch of that stuff in here. I'm not a electronics or computer expert when it comes to the chips and their uses, and I've got a basic understanding, enough to make an occasional fix and repair and save, but the price was right on this stuff, so I have all this great stuff. So I should catalog, maybe do a spreadsheet, and get everything on a spreadsheet with a little note on what they're for. And it'll make it easier if I'm looking for stuff. But this is a project that I'm going to have to take on over a period of time. So, moving on. So I'm just gonna, we'll go through real quick bins of parts. I grabbed capacitors. There were tons and tons of large capacitors, small capacitors, decent quality stuff too. Not cheap stuff. These capacitors look good. There is a question as to how old they are. I assume they've got to be at least 5 years old, but there's mixed information out there. Where some caps can have a shelf life of 3 to 5 years and some are 20 years. So I'll if I need one of these, I'll throw it on a tester and check the ESR and whatnot to but I figure this saves me shipping. There's a lot of there's some useful stuff here. 4700 microfarad, 25 volt. A lot of these can be used in power supplies, 470, 50 volt. Yeah, so, but good quality stuff. Mallory, Nichicon. Yeah, this guy didn't buy the cheap stuff, so. Moving on. So I have 2 more drawers of stuff. So let's see how I'm gonna switch cameras here. Let's see. I have too many scenes here. Bench, nope. Webcam, here we go. Let's go to this one. So another drawer of parts here. I wonder if I have a, no, that's not going to work. Bench. Yeah, I don't have one that combines the top down. But anyway, so we'll just show the front of this. So a lot of these are labeled, and I think they are what they are, which is nice. So let me go back to the top down. It's easier. It's a better camera. Yeah, so I'm going to get my face off there. So I had another drawer of some microcontrollers. I should get my glasses on. And let's see. These are 6545-1 microcontroller. I think these are, yeah, these are okay. I mean, I'll have to clean up. Some of the foam is degrading and it gets on the chips, but I don't see corrosion. There were some drawers that had took some water, and I left those drawers. So more microcontrollers. What else? So it's getting away from chips. Oh, what I have and what I grabbed a lot of are voltage regulators. Brand new. What are these? NTE 6240. Super fast dual center tap rectifier. If I fix a, let's say, those portable PA speakers are notorious for blowing regulators because their ventilation is non-existent, so everything overheats, and they put components in there that are right to the specification. You know, if it calls for 5 volts, they put a 6 volt or maybe even just a 5 volt part in, and when it overheats, it melts. So some more logic, tons more logic. There's more microprocessors. Oh, and So I'll have to reorganize some stuff. Oh, some more regulators, but more sockets, machine pin sockets. This is great. These would be perfect for if I restore an Apple II board and I want to change the memory out. I'll desolder the old memory, put a socket in, and then I'm able to swap chips easier. So tons of that size, which is perfect. More logic chips, disc caps, more voltage regulators, logic, clock crystals. I think these are, unfortunately, I didn't come home with the one I'm looking for. My Tandy computer, when I was cleaning it, the clock chip, a 32 megahertz clock chip, broke off. It was bouncing around the board, which kind of stinks. So I've got to find a new clock chip. This is this is a 4.19 kilohertz. I think kilohertz probably. Yeah, I imagine it's 4 point something K. So, or it might be megahertz. I don't know. I'll have to look up a part number. Inline fuses, some more logic, or more ICs, Those slipped through. Those are. This is that corrosion I was talking about. You can see on here. It took on some moisture, so these are junk. I mean, maybe they're stuck in there. Oh, that's really stuck. Oh man. Yeah. So, well, that's not bad. That might clean up. So, but the moisture left some corrosion on there. These more regulators, large ones too. Voltage regulators. Another drawer of crystals. These are 4.032, and some ICs, miscellaneous ICs dropped in there. And these are resistor packs, which I've used on some of the projects, some modern projects that I have. And, oh, there's a number on them. Wow, that's even small with my glasses. The drawer's marked LA119. If that doesn't match these numbers. This part says it's 4310R-101. So I'll have to look that up and see what those values are. My guess is possibly there was a catalog system, and he had his drawers labeled for, in a book that he could reference. So toss these loose regulators in the drawer. And let's see, these are transistors. I got drawers and drawers of transistors. And here's some sockets for logic chips. They're a little bit wider than those RAM sockets. So a whole drawer. There's some in the front that it's got some moisture dripped on them, so they're a little corroded. More logic, some large resistors. I assume those are resistors. They got the color bands. So some diodes, some transistors, and that's this set of drawers. So last set of parts, and we'll get into some fun stuff. So transistors. I think this set is full of, see, here's that. These are useless. Water sat in here, and these all rusted out. I don't know why I didn't catch that and just leave these here and pull some drawers of some other good stuff. They have some transistors, some more voltage regulators. Just this drawer is just packed full that I can't even pull the drawer out. Transistors, more voltage regulators. So I'm going to have to go through and check the numbers, the specs on these, and then maybe relabel these drawers. So, and then diodes. We've got diodes of various sizes, some resistors, capacitors. Let's see, I think there's more. Yep, resistors. I think the rest of this is resistors, which I didn't need necessarily. I have 2 or 3 drawers of resistors, but I mean these are larger capacity resistors, so a lot of what I have is for lower voltage stuff. So these will probably come in handy for power supplies, more voltage regulators. So, all right, what next? What do we move into now? What's close? So the other thing I grabbed, there were drawers and drawers of software. Actually, yesterday I found a drawer next to the workbench that I hadn't opened up, and I found a little stack of these Dell mouse pads, which hopefully I'll be able to get those flat, but sticker's still on them. So this was just, you know, they must have maybe sold or supported Dell computers or something, and they sent them a package of mouse pads. So, but there were drawers and drawers of software on mostly 3.5 floppies. I did find some interesting things. I think this drawer got overturned last night. I had some organization. A lot of radio stuff, radio related stuff, and then some business software, but you know, I can reuse some of these. There are system disks in here, which is nice. Network stuff. Let's see. Procom Plus key map for SFG from 1995. Note, use VT220 terminal emulation. So that's pretty cool. IBM IBM ThinkTop files, 9/15/1995. 1995 was about the time that I started building computers for myself. Yeah, this is network stuff. And America Online. Anybody? I have a stack of Windows and Mac 3.5 inch. I mean, I used to have piles of the CD-ROMs, but they originally came out on 3.5 inch floppy. So now I have a ton of them. So IMSI mouse, IMSI version 6 of the drivers. That's useful to anybody. Then there's some. Actually, yeah. Unfortunately, I could not find any more than disc 2 and disc 4 of this Akai MPC 3000 sample. It's a sound library. So that's unfortunate. But I do have a MIDI timepiece up in the garage, up in storage. So here's a Windows console and driver for that. So that'll be neat to get that working. And I've got some drivers on a floppy. Not that you can't find anything with Google anymore. So there's new 3M discs in a verbatim box. So I assume they're new and unused. There's no stickers on them. I got a pile of unused stickers as well. So I'm not going to go through all the software because a lot of it's boring. They did a lot of backup. But this is, I started organizing. This is all Microsoft and system related stuff. Microsoft Works. I think I eventually came across all of the disks for Microsoft Works on floppy. I have Microsoft Works from, I bought my first PC was an AT&T Pentium 75, and Microsoft Works came on CD-ROM at that time, which I have over on the shelf still. But I have it on floppies now. I got another couple of sets of DOS 622 here. And here, in here somewhere, I think I have, oh, here, I have an unopened, well, no, this is a Ziploc, so, but it's a full set of Windows 95 install on floppies, which sucks. Installing Windows 95 from floppy is not a pleasant process. It takes forever. And my set that I had, set of floppies, I think it was disk 7 became corrupted and I could not use them anymore. It would just hang on disk 7 and would halt, and I'd have to restart, and it was bad disk. So here's a whole set of Windows 95. Let's see. There's probably at least 100 of these OWP backup. I think this is maybe a radio program or something that they used, but there's like daily backups for like 4 or 5 years. Well, maybe not daily then, I guess, but there's quite a few. But there's tons of Windows 95 startup disks, Windows 98 startup disk. I already have a bunch of those. So I think I do have to do a little more organization with this one. What else do we have? SoundLab, RTA. There was a lot of test equipment there, and I assume that this software went with those analyzers and testers and stuff. So these are neat. These Travan cartridges. It's over on the shelf over there. But I actually had found last year the drive for these tapes and had no idea. I grabbed it because it was a Goodwill. It was $2, and I thought, oh, this is an interesting drive. Maybe I'll come across the media for it. Well, guess what? I found the discs. This is tape, a sealed cartridge tape. This one, they're 800 megabytes compressed, and then uncompressed 400 megabytes of storage on a tape drive. And I assume it takes a long time to back up that amount of data to a tape. So, but I have tape for that drive to test that out. So this is another cartridge. I think I do have a drive for. I'm going to have to look through my boxes. But I got this open before and I can't remember how to. There it is. This is another. It's a tape cartridge format. It's back up from May of 1995. Backup number 2. And it's some sort of digital tape data format, which I think I have. I've got 2 other tape drives in a box somewhere. I think that'll probably go with that, which is cool. I have something to test that drive with now. So just tons of software in here. So moving on. Let's keep moving here. And then so there was some Macintosh stuff in there as well. So I separated the Macintosh stuff. There's some cool stuff in here. FWE toolkit. I think I have a hard disk utility from them already. Lynx, which is a game. It's a golf game, I think, from the mid-90s. Macintosh Automation Tempo 2. I'm not sure. I wonder if that might even be like mixing console automation software, possibly some network stuff for the Mac. A CompuServe for Macintosh. Anybody? Oh, and here's a stack of, or actually just a few discs of America Online version 2.5 for Macintosh. And some more America Online. Great. Global Facts mixed in there. So, and then some. Actually, this is interesting. Texas Instruments some sort of compiler, and that says Mac on it, so this is for a Mac. Not exactly sure. TMS 320C30C compiler, so programming disk or something probably. And yeah, we've got Pascal, Lightspeed Pascal for Macintosh. LP1, LP2, yeah, the system disk, libraries, and utilities. So this will be interesting to go through. Another Lightspeed Pascal. And then LabVIEW. Again, I think they had some test equipment that used, or it was, it might be, software on the Mac for doing laboratory work that does maybe designs. I have Windows stuff that was an educational software for electronics and circuit design and that kind of stuff. So this could be possibly what this might be used for. So LabVIEW for Macintosh Application Builder Libraries. So I have to do some research and see what some of this stuff does. So over here, I think there's system disks in here. So there's Apple System Edition 6.07. I don't know if this is for Apple II or it's for Macintosh. Well, System 607, that's probably Macintosh. OS 6.7, 6.0.7. Mac Friends format and test software. And then I have, these would probably Macintosh Utilities Disk 1, Printing Tools, and Disk 4. So this is not complete, but this might be for the early compact Mac, like a Mac Plus or something, possibly. Macland system disk, and then System 7.5 on floppy. I think it's complete disk. 1, 2, 3. No, missing 4. I think I'm missing disk 4. I could probably find disk 4 somewhere and get an image. And then there's system updates, and then hints and tips for the Macintosh. So that'll be fun to look at. And Math Maker fonts for the Macintosh. So fun stuff. So that's the Macintosh software. There wasn't too much of that. All right, so let's. Software's boring. So the books are right here. So these are some of the books I grabbed. MS-DOS and GW Basic. I grabbed this through one of the first weeks. I thought, oh, cool. I like the spiral bound stuff. So I grabbed this, and on like week 3, I went through the file drawers where the software was, and I missed a drawer, and I ended up finding MS-DOS 3.3 that goes with this book on 5 1/4 floppy. So that's, I put those in my Tandy box with all my 5 1/4 inch floppies. So I grabbed this just because it looked, I don't know, looked interesting. I like the colors. And books were cheap. So high-speed CMOS logic data book. I don't know if this will be, I don't know. Google just makes everything so easy. So a PC programming software. I don't know how much how much use I'll get out of this, because it's for PCS personal radios. I'm not gonna go and find the radios that go with this or whatever. So, but I like the binder, and it does have 5 1/4 floppies in here, which I love discs like this. This is a disc. This is software right here. I love the sound of the drive when it's reading the chunky sounds of a 5 1/4 inch floppy drive. So Intel memory book. Obviously this is early Intel stuff. This book I think is from, let's let's see. The book dates from, I want to say, the early 80s. When did they put the date in these things? 1990. So, Memory Components Handbook. So they practically are giving away the books. So, but this is pretty cool. Computer Technician's Handbook. This will actually come in handy when working on older computers. I imagine this book probably is from, 1990. So this will be a good reference manual for testing old 90s and late 80s computers. When I want to keep my old Tandy and old 486 PCs running. So those are some of the books. And I got these binders here. So apparently I had heard that there was some pro audio equipment there and mixing consoles that were in the aisles. I don't know who got those, and it would be interesting to hear what they were. But I did find an Atari Status 18R music and production audio console operation and maintenance manual. So this is actually really cool, because this size console requires you to have a bit of skill to maintain the older consoles. So it's really cool. I thought it was a good idea to grab this and just have it. A local studio that is restoring an Atari. It's not this console, but some of the concepts are the same. So it's I think this will be invaluable to just have as a reference if I'm repairing a board or a channel or in the future down the road. So, and again, this kind of stuff, they have a whole room full of binders of maintenance manuals and product catalogs. So I grabbed that. This I saw the first week I was there. A store operator manual. I saw SOM on the binder end, and on the end on the shelf, and I thought, what is SOM? I pulled it out and I saw the famous R logo. So this is a store operations manual. When you opened a Radio Shack store, you ran your store according to the manual, so that all stores ran the same, I guess, if you had a franchise. So date placed, so from 1998. So this is later on in the last in the waning years of Radio Shack. I think they lasted maybe 10 years after this before they actually went fully bankrupt and out of business in the United States, I guess. So, but I thought for nostalgia's sake, and because I have a large Radio Shack collection, I thought this would be a neat addition to that. A unused Radio Shack store operating manual. So, all right, let's move into some fun stuff here. Let me go get a box that has a pile of stuff. Oh, wait, there's one right here, actually. Speaking of Radio Shack, this is a small box. This I grabbed yesterday. It's a Realistic 10 transistor Jetstream. I didn't realize till I had it in the box and I was looking at it as I was heading out. AM radio and aircraft. So this picks up the aircraft frequencies, which I believe they're still using VHF. I guess it would be the high VHF for airplane transmissions. So this will be neat to get this working. And amazingly enough, the antenna looks to be intact and wasn't snapped off. So it is really stuck on there. And I assume there's probably a 9-volt battery knocking around in here, so I'm going to have to get this popped open, and hopefully it hasn't exploded all over the insides of this thing. So another box of, well, no, more OWP backups. Satellite, maybe satellite dish programming discs, possibly. So more floppies, tons of floppy disks. So I was talking about the video equipment. This is one of the things I grabbed for some tapes I grabbed for a friend. He was looking for U-matic tape. This is a 1-inch videotape in cassette format. When I was in AV club in 7th, 8th grade, we ran programming to the classrooms on U-matic tape. We had big Sony top-loading machines that these were used in. So I grabbed some tapes for that guy, and I'm gonna send these down to him. I believe he's gonna do a display at VCF Southwest. I think it's in June. So some more tapes. A lot of this stuff was from local channels, local news channel, and some of it's just some B-roll and location footage. There are some edited masters. I have another larger box upstairs. I probably grabbed at least 20 some tapes. One of which is a recording of the 1980 gold medal round from Lake Placid, the U.S. men's hockey team that won gold that year against the Russians. So we'll see if I can get that tape working. That'll be a fun one. I found a sealed 8mm digital audio cassette. I have a Tascam DA38 machine laying around here somewhere, and I only had one tape from college, so now I've got a blank that I can use with that machine. More floppy disks. Let me get these out of here. I think this is another new box of floppies. And let's move those over to the floppy disk boxes. So this, I have a boxed one. I'm going to hold off on that because I have one that's not in a box, and I'm going to demonstrate that for you young folks who don't understand why old folks call their remotes clickers. So, but I grabbed some miscellaneous. I assume they're computer one end, so it's a serial port to phone line. So it's some kind of telecommunications computer interface. So I don't know. I grabbed a few of these just because they were laying there and needed to be rescued. So some more. So I have CD-ROM, a whole bunch of CD-ROM software. Actually, this is a Toshiba satellite PC, which I have a couple of satellite computers sitting on the couch that I'll show here in the pile. So this is an actual sealed restore CD for that. This is this was in the pile. I just grabbed it. It's Broadcast Music Library. A lot of what they did, some of their clients is at this place, they sold music playback systems for stores in the mall, and so they had their music. They've got tons of endless loop cassette machines, but they also had these unbranded 5-disc CD changers with nothing on the front of them, but just a tray that opens up, and then I would assume they load in these mix CDs of today's top hits or whatever, and this is what would play in the stores in the mall and in department stores and whatnot. So, but then I found, I'm missing a disc. I might have this first disc in a sleeve somewhere, but the MSDN library I grabbed this because I have another disc that's actually a beta version of Windows NT in a big box like this. It's in a box with other CD-ROMs, I think. So that's neat. And then I grabbed, and I have another box of this stuff, but I have sealed Windows 95. I've got a bunch of them sealed. I just grabbed these because they were left in the box, and I just couldn't leave stuff to just be thrown away. Just, why not? I need more crap. So, but here's a sealed Windows NT workstation. I think. Oh wait, this might be open. I don't see the. There should be a CD-ROM in here, but I don't feel one. I do have a pile of these too. Windows NT workstation. And they say compact PC only, but I assume you could install these on any PC, I would think. So, and then I grabbed an owner's manual for a Dell Dimension 4600 PC. I don't know, this one's called War Incorporated. So let's pop that in and see exactly what that is. So, Dell Desktop Computers Product Information Guide. This was the last stuff that was left in the file cabinets, so I grabbed it. So I'm going to leave that clicker there. Let's put this back in here. Put that back in here. We already looked at that. Let's get this out of the way. I'm going to grab another box, which is even more interesting. This is probably shaping up. How long have we been streaming here? Started out, wow, good. Let's see, we've been streaming for an hour and 10-11 minutes. So let's see, I'm gonna put this box down here so I have room to work. So this is the Realistic 4-channel stereo microphone mixer. I grabbed this because when I got my first job and I had some money, and the first place I went was Radio Shack, and I spent my money at Radio Shack, and I had to have a mixer of some kind, and this is the one I could afford with that first paycheck. I don't remember how much I paid. It might have been $40 or $50 at the time. I don't know, maybe not that much. $30 or $40 probably. But I had some fun. I could finally mix audio together. So somebody, this was sitting on the shelf, and I happened to catch my eye. I was walking by, and just had to have it, because the one I had, I sold to a friend in college for, I don't know, $5 or $10, I think. So I didn't have it for a while, and I saw this, and I'm like, oh, this would be nice to have again. So, and it goes well with my Radio Shack collection. And somebody modified this, and it's not really a modification. They took the Archer AC adapter and hardwired it into the 9-volt battery connection. So, and this works. It powers on. It works. So, yeah. So I have that. It's in the collection now. And since this is on top, this was sitting on the workbench, and I didn't think much of it the first few times I saw it, but I picked it up and I'm looking at it, and I see on here hard drive, power on, a power switch, over temp. But I saw hard drive and I'm like, hard drive. And then I noticed the Windows XP Professional. And I thought, wow, this must be a computer in here. COM ports, an LPT printer port, VGA output, ATX power connector, Ethernet, some sort of, I assume maybe some sort of special display port, audio in and out, and on the front, FireWire, USB, and a PC card bus slot. So I'm guessing with a PC card adapter, I can use compact flash in here. So at some point I'm going to open this up, and of course the PS2 mouse and keyboard ports. So this is going to be a neat project to get this computer running again. It's really cool compact computer. So I assume this, it says property of Niagara County, so this belonged to, I'm guessing, used in the police department or emergency services of some kind. What did this say? What do we got on here? Yeah, there it is, Lewiston Police Department asset tag right there. So yeah, I'm guessing that I wonder if this is a computer that was put into based on its design. This was probably a computer that went in a police car, so that they could run your tags and run your license and whatnot. So this would probably go mounted underneath the dash or underneath the passenger seat. Yeah. So yeah. So this will make a cool project. So I'm gonna leave that right there. And I mentioned in the I think I mentioned in the beginning with the pictures, the slideshow at the beginning, there was a picture of this. This guy, this is a phone handset with alligator clips. A lineman would climb the telephone pole and clip on to the wires, and he would test phone lines with this handset. So this one actually has an asset tag for ITT World Communications, which I imagine was a phone company at the time. April 1981. I think that says 81. So, and you had a talk and a monitor, so you could just listen into the line, or you could flip the switch and actually talk on the line. So, and the clip, they would clip this to their belt so they wouldn't drop it as they were climbing the pole, I would assume. So, but yeah, I was told that there was an entire suitcase, I guess, with all of the equipment that a lineman would use that had just sold that morning. But this is just kind of a cool piece, to show the kids that this is how we used to dial the phone. And this is how long it used to take to dial somebody's number. And then you'd have to wait for the electronic clicks that went from this handset through the lines that controlled the relays that turned the I don't know exactly what they were called, but there would be a mechanical disc that and it would set your call to the right telephone exchange to connect your phone call to the other end. So it was a mechanical process before everything became digital. So fun times. Next is a audio test unit. This was sitting, I think this was sitting on the bench as well. It is, I believe, a frequency generator, a tone generator. So we can get 500 hertz or 1K, and then volume has a output. You connect it to your equipment and you push your tone. Beep, beep. So all hand wired, which is pretty amazing. So I'll have to modify this and put a different battery in here. This battery appears to be intact, which is good. It's a C cell battery that hasn't hasn't exploded all over the place, which is good. So, but this will be a neat little project, a quick project, hopefully, because I can't imagine this just won't work. I mean, it's hand wired, simple components. So, yeah, this will be fun to hear what this sounds like. So, oh boy, I got so much stuff. And everything looks good here. We're an hour, 20 minutes in. And hang on, I've got a computer that wants to go to sleep over here. Let's wake this up. Okay. So I noticed yesterday there were file cabinets back in the back room that were full of power supplies. So I grabbed some interesting, weird old stuff. Some of which is going to come in really handy because, like, I've got this one. This one's an IBM Power Brick. I'll have to look up to see what it is because it's got a strange power connector on here. But I've heard that these are very hard to find, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to grab it. I don't necessarily have a machine that can use it now, but I may come across one in the future. So same with this one. I'm not sure what this one's for, but it's a 16.5 volt, which is not a normal everyday voltage like 12 and 19. I think is a common laptop power supply now. 9 volt, 12 volt, 19. So this will go in my box of weird power connectors. And what else do we have here? So I also found a Commodore brick. This would be for a Commodore VIC-20 or a Commodore 64, and probably some others. But I grabbed it just because it says Commodore on it. I have a VIC-20 floppy drive that I found that doesn't have the power supply, so I may be able to use this with that. So an NEC power brick. This is 13.5 volts, so that's a voltage that can come in handy for the older portables. So this one I saw on the shelf. Macintosh PowerBook AC adapter. I'm not sure. It looks like it was maybe repaired at some time. Repaired really nicely. So don't know if this works. I don't have a PowerBook, but may come across one at some point. So it says Macintosh, so I had to have it. So, and where's that other one? Is this the one? I have a, this isn't the one I'm thinking of, iMation. I think that goes with, that's 5 volts on this big brick, which is kind of funny. It's a 1.5 amps. So iMation, that might be, I don't think it's for these. I managed to actually, I was looking through, I was at the workbench area and I happened to open up a file cabinet that was underneath that I hadn't opened yet. I found 2 more super disk drives in there. So iMation, oh yeah, this is probably, 5 volt. These are 5 volts. Yep. So I happened to grab the power supply actually after, I probably found this before I found these. So I'm glad I grabbed it. So this is the power supply for the iMation super disk drive. I actually have a third one. I found this week 1 when I was there. So these are all from a school, I believe a local school. So yeah, Victor Central School. This is outside of Rochester. So so I think all of these probably came from the same place. So they probably went to auction years and years and years ago. So super disk USB drive for Macintosh. So I have 3 of them. So I will test these at some point. This will be nice nice to have. So yeah, that's the power supply for that. So I'm trying to find, I know there's a power supply in here, which I was excited to find. Yes, here it is. I have a Zenith portable PC, which was the first thing I picked up the first week I was at the radio shop. And this is 14 volts DC. I think this is the power supply for the Zenith portable computer. I'm hoping. Because I think it requires somewhere between 12 and 15 volts. I'm hoping this is the size. So let's grab. So the rest of, there's some other miscellaneous power supplies. I think this is another. Oh no, I grabbed this because it's another one of those weird 4-pin power supplies with multi-voltage. I think there's. This says it's only 12 volts, but sometimes these can come in like a 5 volt, 12 volt variety. That gives you 2 voltages out of it. But this looks like it's just 12 volts. So, but I thought these are hard to come by these days, so I grabbed that, and I think there's a second one in here. This actually might be, what is this? Oh, this is an 8 volt power supply. So another odd size. And then there's some serial cable adapters that were just laying in that file cabinet that I grabbed. And then a PS2 port extender cable. I have a bunch of these. I grabbed, this was with those super disk drives. So I grabbed another. I think I have 3 of these for the 3 drives. So before we get back to the Zenith computer thing, let's talk about this. Zenith replacement Space Command transmitter. So this is an early Zenith TV remote control. Zenith Space Command. I'm going to assume this was probably from the late 60s. I think the late 60s. But this is why old people called the remotes clickers. Do you hear that? Oh, I'm really hammering the input there. So yeah, click, click, click. That's why we call them clickers. Well, some of us call them clickers. A lot of older people. So, but yeah, this was just cool to have. This is going to make a cool, maybe I'll sell one, and this is just make a cool shelf piece, put this in the curio cabinet with all my other collectibles. So, but it is, it's chrome, it's plastic, it clicks, and it's called Zenith Space Command. That's just amazing. George Jetson, watch out. So let's put all these power supplies back in here. Keep all this together. I didn't realize I grabbed as many as I did. So, but this NEC power supply, I wonder if this is for an NEC portable. So that'll be nice to have if I ever come across an NEC portable. So let me go grab the Zenith portable. Let's see if that fits in there. So here it is with the carrying strap. So let's switch over to the side camera real quick. There we go. All right, so there it is. The Zenith Data Systems portable. So I'm going to be real careful with these old plastics. You push that back, and there it is. So you have a widescreen, early, it wouldn't be LCD. I'm not sure exactly what this screen is on here. But the keys on here feel really nice. It's a nice keyboard on here. I have a compact portable that has the membrane switches, and they're all shot. I have to order the kit from Tech Select, and replace all the foil on those. But these sound mechanical to me, and it's a decent feel. So, and then there's push button. There's these. This is, I know this is like a membrane on here for the function keys. So, and it's a dual 5 1/4 inch floppy disk drives here, sprung, and then you let me turn on a extra light here. Yeah, that's a little shiny, but yeah, you can see that for the disk drives. So on the side, and I've opened this up and I checked for battery damage or anything like that, and there was none. I removed the battery pack from here already. That's out on the table, and it was intact. How the heck do I get this back on here? There we go. So let's see, because I looked this up, and actually, yeah, 15 volts DC. This power supply is oh, I'm on the wrong camera, but this is 14 volts, so this should be close enough now, provided it fits. And it doesn't. Okay, so this isn't the right one. Shoot. Okay, what it is the switch back here. What it is that pin in there is a very wide pin, and I have yet to find an AC adapter that has a wide enough it's wide enough in the barrel there to fit over that damn pin on there. So maybe, so I need 15 volts, or any of these 15. This is 13 and a half. Is this one wide enough? God, this one doesn't even fit. All right, so the search is still on for the correct power supply. So we got to put these tabs back in to lock the keyboard, and that didn't work. Let's try this again. There we go. All right, so, well, the quest is still on for the right power supply for this portable Zenith, because I'd love to get this thing working. This does have the memory expansion on it, which is nice. So I think it's the full 512 or 640K, I think. I think it came with 256. It's expanded, so I think it's 640. So, but well, another project that'll have to wait for the right power supply. So, all right, what's next? What is next? So keeping with the portable computers, I've tested these. They all sort of power up to a certain extent. So on top here is a compact LTE Elite 4/75C. And this is really cool because this is the laptop that has the mouse trackball built right in here, and your mouse buttons are in the back. So it's not a horrible keyboard. Don't know if I think the screen works. It's really dim. I don't want to fire it up because the hard drive in here makes the most god-awful sound you've ever heard. And this hard drive pops out. I think part of this tab is ripped off. Oh my gosh, that's pretty stuck in there. Oh, I had this drive out once, but there's this weird connector in there so you can actually swap these drives out. I guess you could swap them out if you needed to. So, but the front 3.5-inch floppy. This, I think this is where the battery goes. Yeah, I think this is Yep. So here's a battery, new in March of 1996. So yeah, that's quite old. So on here, the other ports are, what is this? This pops down. Yeah, so PCMCIA, which actually will make file transfer in and out of here somewhat easy. And there's your ports are protected by a cover as well. So serial, there's a dock. There's a dock connector. Give this more light here. A printer port, a PS2 port, and a VGA output, which actually could be helpful if this screen doesn't work. I could get VGA output into a monitor of some kind. So, but I've got to do something about the hard drive in here. It's got a weird connector on it, so I can't just pop in a 2.5-inch IDE drive. Yeah, so this is going to be some work. So I also grabbed a couple of Toshiba satellites, a regular satellite and a Satellite Pro. Again, I think one of these did fire up. The other one I need a power supply for. This Toshiba has a regular AC input, so it has the power supply built in. So 3.5-inch floppy, PCMCIAs. You know, that weird little IBM mouse thingy here, buttons, squishy keyboard. It's a Satellite 110CS, and serial, keyboard, mouse, printer, VGA, power, and a dock. A dock for their docking stations. So Satellite Pro is somewhat similar. Yeah, oh, they added USB. I didn't see the USB port there before, so some kind of weird port on the side there. And I think there are, yeah, CF, yeah, so PCMCIA for CF, and what does that say on there? CF and ZV? I don't know what format that was. And I think it's a CD drive on here as well, so these will be nice to work on at some point. I think they are all Pentium of one speed or another, if I'm not mistaken. Pentium 75s or Pentium 133s. Certainly not any faster than that, I think. So, moving on. Let's take these back. Okay, well, I think there's a few more pieces. So the other thing I grabbed were, there were cables and adapters of all kinds. Some new in the packaging. Yeah, oh, bagged. These are those iMation Super Drive. So I'll have enough for all three. These are, I'm not sure what it is. These are ADC. I think they go to punch downs for, oh my gosh, patch bays. This would go on the back end, and you'd wire these. These would go wired to the back side. You could wire those out to your equipment, and then your patch base, so you can move things around, and just instead of having to disconnect all of your conductors, you just take out the plug. So I'm not sure how this made it into the box. I don't really need those. So I think that's a DB15 video cable for a Mac. I grabbed, these are serial adapters, but they're also, I found a bunch of these DB15 to VGA adapters for Macintosh. To get the Macintosh computers that had DB15s, you could convert them to VGA. I'll grab that. This is one that has the jumper, so you can, you set it for different systems. A SCSI terminator, some serial gender changer plugs, adapters. I don't know what the heck this was. I thought it looked neat. It's some sort of parallel or serial adapter of some kind. AB. Maybe it's an AB switch. Some sort of AB switch, automatic. And it had some sort of network adapter on it. So I thought, I'll grab that. It looked neat. So an old Switchcraft stereo selector, which is kind of cool. So you have your amp side and then phono, tape, aux. Not sure how you can plug phono into tape and an aux, because a phono level is certainly not going to match the tape and the aux level to go to the same amp, unless you've already hit your preamp and whatnot. So, but whatever. Thought that was interesting. And I found this. There's something shaking around in it, but I thought, oh, it's J.L. Cooper Mac Nexus MIDI interface, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, so I had to grab that. Don't know what's flopping around in there, but I'll have to pop that open. So, and I saw this. This looks cool. Lafayette, which I have an amplifier, my dad's old stereo hi-fi amplifier that needs some work up in the garage. It's a Lafayette, but this converts your speaker to stereo phones, so you turn your speakers on, turn them off, and then just listen on headphones. So yeah, so your amp goes in, this goes to your speakers, and this switch would turn your speakers off and send it to the stereo phones, your headphones. So, and a University Sound telephone adapter. I'm guessing you can take your phone line in and send this to your, well, high level and low level, which is kind of cool, to either amplify or record audio from the phone line. So yeah, your internal phone line. So more serial adapters. Another, oh, this is DVI to VGA. So that serial adapter, another gender changer. This I grabbed because it's digital. DEC, Digital Electronics Corporation. It's probably some sort of serial adapter. There's a network or a phone line connector on that end, but grabbed it because I have a thing for digital stuff. So VGA cable, another VGA cable, DB15 video cable, a AT. I think this is an AT or a MIDI cable, possibly. And then some sort of printer adapter cable. So it's got a DIN plug to, it'd be a DB25, but there's not all the pins are there. So another one of those Mac VGA adapters. Don't know, some sort of wiring. This is just some miscellaneous computer cables. Yeah, so another gender changer, but a male. So parts. So that's that. This, going on to audio stuff here. This I found in a top drawer, in the back of a top drawer in the office area, and I thought, wow, this is obviously a microphone. But I thought it's an interesting design with the vents on the back. There's a pad, two-way or three-way pad switch, and the windscreen on here, pop filter, looked a lot like this is an AKG microphone. So I grabbed it, and I Googled it because the plate's gone that tells you what the model number is. So I Googled it and I looked at images, and I figured out this is a AKG D202. It's a dynamic microphone, but it has two capsules, one for high frequencies and one for lower frequencies. And there's a crossover in here that combines the high and the low. So you have two capsules capturing the sound, and then it combines it in a crossover and spits out a regular balanced mic connection. I plugged it in. It doesn't work. It has issues. Obviously, it was at a repair shop for a reason. My guess is either wires came loose or there's something wrong with the crossover in it. There's a lot more electronics in here than the standard microphone, where you might have a transformer and a few wires. So this is a project. This will be neat. I hear this microphone is was used a lot on percussion instruments, and it had a very good rejection of ambient sound, off-axis sounds. So it's very, very directional. And AKG made the coolest looking and some of the best sounding microphones around. So this will be neat to get this working and use at some point. So I have a huge microphone collection. So that will go in there. So what else? So yeah, I've got a bunch of CRTs. I think we talked about that already. Let me real quick run to the other room and see if I forgot. Oh, I do have a couple more things. Hang on 1 second. Heavy. All right. Oh. Okay, let's switch cameras here. Okay, I think this'll do it. We're gonna wrap up after this, so I think I need more room. So let's get these keyboards out of the way. Let's get this guy out of the way for a second. I see I see a few more things behind me. There's just so much stuff that, and of course over 2 weeks, I forgot most of the stuff that I had. So here we got some light here. I saw this. I literally had walked by this probably 3 times, and there was another fella there who I'd been chatting with quite a bit. And he says, well, that right behind you, that looks like a computer. Isn't that a computer behind you? And I turn around and I'm like, yeah, you are right. It was underneath a couple of boxes. So, and it was on its, I think it was on one of its ends. So the front of it was covered. It was to the back or something. So I uncovered it, got everything off of it, and I realized it is a Tandy computer with a sticker for Intel inside. So I thought, well, it's got to be at least 486. And sure enough, it is a bench only. Let's see. It is a Tandy model, Tandy 2100 Model 10 PC, which is it is a 486 SX. So it is, it's not a DX, but it's Tandy, and I don't have any Tandy computers. I had a Tandy 100 TRS-80 that I found at Savers a bunch of years ago, and I bought it for like $20. It had a case. It was in nice condition, and I needed money at that time, and so I ended up selling that for $100 more than I paid for it. So I don't regret really selling that. It helped financially at the time, but I don't like to sell things now because I've gotten rid of stuff in the past that I wish I still had and would be worth a lot more money. So I think I got enough screws out of this damn thing. Let's see. because this is, I know this, I've had this open. It slides back. Or no, oh, no, it slides forward. That would be the reason. And then the ribbon cables. Yeah, there we go. And keep lifting the front. And we are free. So there it is. A Tandy. We have it's an Intel i486SX processor. It is not socketed, so it's one that's right on there. So this does work. I have fired it up. It has that damn Dallas clock chip battery thing that's obviously dead. So it doesn't hold any of the BIOS settings. I have to every time you start it up, it has to be reset, and it takes a little bit to get this thing booted up. So, but it's got a sound card in it. It's an Analog Devices Echo, which I assume is some sort of Sound Blaster clone of some kind. It's got an ISA VGA card. Again, I want to say I think it's a Cirrus Logic, and then of course the I/O controller for everything. The floppy, the hard drive. The hard drive I cannot get to. I think the hard drive is shot in this. It doesn't. I think it spins up, but it doesn't. It doesn't read. I get a disk error on it. So. But it does work. The power supply is still solid. It tested okay. I want to say there's maybe a couple of megs of RAM in here. So, but it's a CD-ROM, 3.5-inch floppy. So I've got a kit, the Dallas clock chip replacement in my Amazon cart. It's like $20. So I'm gonna order that. It uses that it's not a 2032 battery, but it uses a 1226 battery instead of the internal Dallas chip, so you can swap the battery in and out when the battery dies. So that was a highlight of the first trip there, was finding this 486, because this is the only operating 486 computer that I have. My other PCs of this era are I think the earliest one I have is the first PC I built, which I should do a video on. Is it's a Pentium 233 MMX, but it flies with Windows 95. So let's get these screws back in here. Yeah, so this will be a neat one. I'd love to get an actual Tandy monitor, a Tandy CRT for this, but that's a daunting task, I'm sure. So, but I have that Dell monitor I can use with this. So, but I also happen to find, and I'm glad I grabbed this Micro Innovations keyboard. I didn't notice until I got home that this Tandy computer has an AT. It's a baby AT board, so it requires the AT keyboard. It's not a PS2. So I happened to grab this keyboard, which has a AT connector on it, which was good because I don't have any other keyboards that aren't either PS2 or USB, and I don't even have the right adapter. I've got adapters to get PS2 to AT, but I wouldn't have any way to get to AT into PS2. I don't have that, which I can buy one, but I have the keyboard with this. So, and let's see, let's put this somewhere. Let's put it back out here. All right, so winding down here, I grabbed this other PC. It's a Lenovo ThinkCentre, nice compact size. It's a Intel V Pro, Windows XP. What does that say? Windows Vista capable, whatever. You know, it's a, I believe it's, the V Pro is like, it's an Intel, I think it's a dual, one of those Core Duos. So it's rather new, not super new, but not really old. And it's not a Pentium 4. So it's obviously, they're probably USB 2. It was well before USB 3, the blue ports. So VGA serial parallel. No cards in it. I did fire this up. It does fire up, but I can't remember. I think the hard drive. I can't remember if the hard drive was wiped on this or not. So, but this will sit on the pile for a rainy day. So, going back to video equipment, I keep forgetting this one. This is sitting behind me. This I saw on the way out a week ago, and at first it was sitting up on the shelf, and I thought, that looks like a drum machine. And I was kind of hoping it was. It would have been really cool if it were a drum machine. But I grabbed it. I'm like, oh, it's a video generator, special effects generator. And I said, oh, it's yours. Take it. Get it out of here. So I grabbed it. I haven't tested this up. Let's see if this actually just even powers up. Yeah. Look at that. We got lights. Yep. And they're responding. Wow. This will be pretty cool. I've got some old video equipment. I've got a Panasonic video switcher, 4-channel video switcher, that actually would probably made up really well with this. And I'll use the video monitors. Maybe I'll set up an old school video editing setup. So, but there's digital effects and I don't know, real archaic stuff here. So, yeah, so I'll have to find a book on this. But that's cool. It powers up. So I have no reason to believe that this won't have, that it'll work, even if it needs a little bit of TLC. But it passed the smoke test at least. So yeah, Ambico Special Effects Generator, model V-0300. So I want to say that says Avoca Art, something like that. Oh, maybe I heard there's a part flopping around in there. So hopefully that's not too serious. So that's another project. I should probably throw this up here while I'm thinking of it. This is, I showed you that U-matic tape earlier, so I'll switch cameras real quick. This is a JVC portable U-matic tape player. So, still has a tape in it. I'd love for this thing to work so I could watch some of the U-matic tapes, but as you can see, it takes the 4-pin XLR type 12-volt power supply. I have a cable for this, but I've got to build a power supply for this of some kind. So yeah, so this will be fun, and then I can play back some U-matic tapes now and get them digitized. So. All right, I think that, there's some other miscellaneous stuff, but, oh, yeah, here's another, there's a couple of drives, this CDRW Plus, let's switch back to the overhead cam, bench cam. Iomega CDRW Plus. I did grab the power supply with this. This was in the office area, so I assumed they were still using it, but this is pretty cool. 2 USB ports. I assume one USB port is for the CDRW drive. Actually, CDRW DVD-ROM. Interesting. So it must be a DVD, well, it must be a DVD drive, but also reads and writes CDRWs. Interesting. But it has a card reader for SD cards, compact flash, and a couple other. That's probably that Sony memory stick. Yeah, MS memory stick. And what is that? Oh, I cannot read. What does that say? SM. What is SM? Anybody know what SM is? And some sort of wider memory card. So, but I'll test this out. This will be neat to use on a 2000s era PC. So, and let me think. I think that just about does it. Yeah. So this was a great experience, a great opportunity. You know, I always see in Facebook groups and in Discord, you know, guys talking about, you know, oh, I came across a great sale or a liquidation or a warehouse or computer reset down in Texas a couple years ago, which was a legendary warehouse computer supply recycling place that closed up, and the man who owned it had died and was left to the family. And I mean, over several weekends they liquidated stuff, and I guess you could go in, you had to make an appointment, and then you got, I think, 2 hours to go through the place for $200 or something like that. And I thought, oh man, nothing like that ever happens around here in the Western New York area, you know. And then I find this. Let's go back to. Then I find this Facebook marketplace listing, and you know, it's not 3,000 square feet is not anywhere near as close to Computer Reset, but for me, I was able to go on 4 separate occasions, and I, you know, every time I went in there was something different, you know, something I didn't see, like these modulators, these modulators and demodulators. Those are still sitting there yesterday. I thought about grabbing one, but yeah, I don't know. They look cool, but well, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'll go back. I really shouldn't, but you know, but there's just so much stuff. Tons of radio equipment still there. You know, where is it? Down on, which way am I looking here? Oh, this is that Panasonic I picked up yesterday. I wasn't going to pick this up because I was looking at this screen right down here, and you know, I wasn't sure if you know, that was just crap on the screen, or it was a symptom of a CRT tube that had, you know, went to air, you know, lost its vacuum. But it works, you know, it still fires up. I still gotta connect the actual video to it. One of the things I did see there that I didn't grab some of these. Yeah, these are. Let's go try it. Let's find another listing that has different pictures. Where is this? Oh, this is another shelf of stuff. I mean, these are high power capacitors, like very high voltage capacitors. Shelby of what the heck's his channel? Tech Tangents. He actually has a process where he actually recharges these capacitors by sending a constant voltage to them for a set period of time, and you're actually able to rejuvenate these old power caps. Um, but I don't work on stuff that has that needs that kind of voltage, or uses that kind of voltage. So, but there's still bins of tubes. um, I started to look through. I was going to try to see if I could find some 12AX7s or 12AU7s, because I have a couple of tube microphones that use those, you know. But it's just there's a whole set of shelves that's all tubes, and I don't want to take the time to go through it. So um, here's a bunch of meters. I mean, this is all cool looking stuff. Um, Voltage meters, amp meters, wattage meters, just the freaking awesome stuff from the 50s and 60s just sitting there, um, and test equipment. This is something that I thought about buying. It's a video analyzer meter, I think it's for working on CRT monitors and TVs. um, it's got the test patterns. I should have grabbed this. There's two of them sitting there. Um, I don't know. Things like this. You really have to know what you're doing to work on high voltage stuff like a CRT. I'm not sure I want to get into that. So here's those cabinets of parts. They actually weren't parts in here. One of these cabinets is actually locked. I was going to say something to them, but there were some drawers that are locked up. I couldn't get open, so that's probably where all the cash is. So all the treasures, the secret plans. So yeah, there were tools. I think all the tools are gone. Tons of this time-lapse video recorders. These are those no-name CD players. Tons of satellite equipment still there. Boxes of radio transceivers. Some more test equipment. This is a restaurant sound system amplifier with zones, I think. Multi-zones. There's those caps again. Let me see if there's still... Oh, this wire spool rack, I heard they sold this yesterday, finally. It's been sitting in the way there for ever since I was there. So, but that sold. So, good for them. That was big and bulky. This stupid thing kept calling to me, but it's sound design. It's crap. But it has a friggin' 8-track cartridge slot with a cassette. I thought that just looks cool. It probably sounds like crap, but so I didn't grab it. So bunch of CD players. The tray's probably missing, so this is useless. But just so much of this stuff. I think that TIAC, or that's a Sony maybe. There's a TIAC 4010, I think, that's still sitting there, a 1/4-inch reel-to-reel. I think that's Sony. I think they sold this last week. Yeah, because this listing is from 2 weeks ago. So I think some of this test equipment is still there. Yeah, here's that second video analyzer. And here's the 1702. I grabbed this. This was covered in... I'm hoping it wasn't mouse rat pee or whatever, but it cleaned up pretty good. The speaker grill on the top still needs a good cleaning. I might actually pull it all apart and hose it down. Really, really get into it with a brush. So there's a PV one of those PV PA mixers there. It's now I think they moved it up top, get it off the floor. I don't need anything like that. Yeah, more radios. There's some projectors there. I mean, these are junk projectors. Old, probably really expensive bulbs. So I think a lot of this stuff went last week. There's more. Yeah, here's more boxes of the vacuum tubes. Tons. So yeah. Yeah, so we're gonna wrap up here. So let's go back to this. So all right. So all right. Well, I hope you enjoyed this live stream, or you do in the future. I don't think anyone was watching, which is better. Because you know, I'm new at this and I'm not good on the camera. So, but I thought it'd be pretty cool to just go through and show off everything that I have. And so I hope you enjoyed it. If you see something that looks like you might want an expanded video on or something, just leave a comment and let me know. And I probably will do some videos on some of this stuff. I want to get that Tandy restored and get that set up and use that. It's just cool. I have a 486 computer. I'll get it set up with Windows 3.1, and play solitaire. Because what else would you do? So anyhow, all right. Well, thanks for watching, and we'll do this again sometime, and stay tuned for more videos in the future. And yeah, that'll wrap it up for today. So anyway, take care. Thanks for watching, and we'll